Welcome to section 3.5. This is the 27th session of the CISSP exam prep series. In this session, we'll cover how a continuity plan becomes real and stays alive. We'll answer several questions. How do you win approval for the plan? How do you implement it and keep it maintained? Why do communication and training matter so much? What belongs in the written documentation? And how do you keep the plan from going stale? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because a brilliant plan that lives in one person's head is worthless the day that person is unreachable. Picture a logistics firm whose only continuity expert is stranded far from the office when a flood hits the warehouse. If the plan is written, endorsed, and rehearsed, the team acts without her. If it is not, they freeze. As a security professional, this final phase is what turns your analysis into something the whole organization can actually use. How do you win approval for the plan? You seek endorsement from the very top. If you kept senior leadership involved throughout, this is smooth. If this is their first look, be ready to explain the plan's purpose and provisions at length. Aim for the signature of your highest executive, the chief executive officer, chairperson, or president. That signature does more than approve the document. It signals to the whole organization that continuity matters, and it gives the plan weight in the eyes of other managers who might otherwise dismiss it as a minor technical exercise. Think of it like a new company policy. When it carries the founder's name, people treat it as real rather than optional. How do you implement the plan and keep it maintained? Once leadership approves, you build an implementation schedule that puts your dedicated resources to work as quickly as the scope and the organization's appetite allow. But deployment is not the finish line. After the resources are in place, the team stands up a maintenance program, a standing effort that keeps the plan responsive as the business evolves. Think of it like launching a new product. Shipping it is only the start. You commit to updates and support so it keeps working long after release day. Why do communication and training matter so much? Because a plan nobody understands cannot be executed. Everyone touched by the plan, directly or indirectly, needs training on the overall approach and on their own specific responsibilities. And those duties must be spelled out clearly. At a minimum, everyone in the organization deserves an overview briefing, which also reassures staff that leadership has thought seriously about the risks. People with direct roles need deeper, hands-on training and evaluation on their tasks. And you train at least one backup for every task, so a single injured or unreachable person cannot break the response. Think of it like a theatre production. Every actor rehearses their part, and every lead has an understudy ready to step in. What belongs in the written documentation, and why write it down at all? Committing the plan to paper delivers real benefits. It gives responders a reference even when senior members are absent, preserves a historical record of the reasoning behind each choice, and forces the team to expose hidden flaws by writing everything out, so a draft can be circulated for a sanity check. The document itself is built from several standard components, which we will walk through. Think of it like a building's blueprints. The knowledge cannot live only in the architect's memory. It must be on paper so any qualified crew can build or repair from it. What core statements anchor the document? Several written statements set the tone and authority of the plan. The continuity planning goals describe what the effort aims to achieve, decided early and rarely changed, such as keeping a call center below 15 consecutive minutes of downtime. The statement of importance conveys how critical the plan is, ideally as a letter under the chief executive officer's signature, which gives it tremendous weight. The statement of priorities lists the critical functions in ranked order, drawn straight from the identifying priorities stage. The statement of organizational responsibility declares that continuity is everyone's job. And the statement of urgency and timing conveys how pressing the work is and lays out the implementation timetable. Think of it like the charter at the front of a project. It states the mission, who signed off, what comes first, and by when. How do you capture risk decisions in the document? Two sections handle this. The risk assessment portion recaps the impact analysis, including the actual figures for asset value, exposure factor, annualized rate of occurrence, single loss expectancy, and annualized loss expectancy, along with the reasoning, while noting that it is a point-in-time snapshot that needs regular updates. The risk acceptance and mitigation section then records the outcome for each risk. For accepted risks, It explains why they're acceptable and what future events might reopen the decision. For unacceptable risks, it details the provisions put in place to reduce them. A crucial discipline here: make leaders formally document every risk acceptance, because auditors will hunt for those artifacts later. Think of it like a signed medical consent form. When someone declines a treatment, you record it clearly, so the decision is never in doubt. Why does a Vital Records program matter, and what does it do? A Vital Records program states where your critical business records live and how backup copies are made and stored. The hardest part is often just identifying which records are truly vital, because as organizations shifted from paper to digital, records scattered across servers, cloud services, and individual repositories. A powerful way to find them is to ask functional leaders a simple question. If we had to rebuild the organization tomorrow in a brand new location with no access to our files, what would you need? That framing forces people to picture the actual rebuild and surface the records that matter. Once identified, you track down where each one is stored. Think of it like a household emergency folder. You decide which documents you truly could not live without. Then make sure you know exactly where each copy sits. What do emergency response guidelines provide? They give the first people to detect a crisis the exact steps to take before the full team assembles. The document should include immediate response procedures like safety, fire suppression, and notifying emergency agencies, a list of who to notify, such as executives and team members, and secondary procedures for first responders to follow while waiting for the team to gather. This guidance must be easy for any potential first responder to reach, because in a disruption, every minute of delay adds to your downtime. Think of it like the safety card in an aeroplane seat pocket. It is written for the untrained passenger nearest the exit, and it must be within arm's reach the instant it is needed. How do you keep the plan from going stale? Through maintenance and regular testing, a continuity plan is a living document because organizations change constantly and their continuity needs shift with them. The team should not disband after writing the plan. It should meet periodically to review the plan and the results of tests. Minor tweaks can happen informally by unanimous consent, while drastic shifts in mission or resources may send you back to the drawing board. Practice firm version control, destroying old copies so no one follows an outdated plan. Weaving continuity duties into job descriptions keeps the work fresh and accountable. And a formal exercise program confirms the plan still works and that people are trained to perform under pressure. Think of it like maintaining a car. Regular servicing and the occasional test drive catch problems long before you are stranded on the road. So let's bring it together. Approval from the top gives the plan authority, and a solid implementation schedule plus a standing maintenance program put it into motion. Communication and training, with a backup for every role, make sure people can actually execute it. The written documentation captures the goals and key statements, the risk assessment and acceptance decisions, the Vital Records program, and the emergency response guidelines. And ongoing maintenance and testing keep it alive as the business changes. Get this phase right, and your continuity work becomes a durable capability rather than a document on a shelf. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.